Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. Got a blind bourbon banger battle on the bar. Let's get into it. Okay, so on the bar tonight, as you can see, I've finally gotten around to this video. This is the Wild Turkey 101 blind battle. I've got the regular Shelfer 101, the 70th anniversary, Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary, Kentucky Spirit, this happens to be a Camp Nelson warehouse bottle, and the new 8-year age stated 101. And for those of you that watch this channel regularly, you'll know that I've talked quite a bit about the 70th anniversary bottle here. Not necessarily favorably. In my initial review, I really liked the bottle, and I still do. I still think this is a really good bottle of bourbon. But I didn't think that it warranted the price jump. I didn't think it was all that much different than Wild Turkey 101. And I've done 2 blinds with this versus Wild Turkey 101, and it's lost both times to the regular Shelfer 101. Now, I did say in, I think, both of those blinds that it was basically a flip of a coin. They were so close that on any given day, I could do this blind again and the 70th might win. To me, they were just that close. They were that similar. So if I get a different result today, I'm not gonna be terribly surprised by that. And then I just reviewed the 8-year, and you know, I think the 8-year, I compared it to the regular Shelfer 101, and it definitely came across as the higher quality bourbon. But in a blind, you never know. You know, there's obviously influence from the other bottles, so, you know, who knows which one of these is going to win. But the initial review of the 8-year, definitely a step up from the standard Shelfer. So this is going to be fun. And by the way, I did a 3-way blind between the regular 101, the 70th, and the Camp Nelson. The Camp Nelson actually came in last. But, you know, I think that these bottles are all going to be close enough. At the end of the day, it's Wild Turkey 101. Slightly tweaked in a couple of different directions. That's really what it is. You know, you got the extra age statement on these two versus the regular Shelfer, which is said to be 6 to 8 years. These are blends of 8 and above. And then the single barrel. But we do have very, very different price points on them. This being like, you know, 30 bucks for a liter, 25, 30 bucks for a liter. This one was closer to the $60 price point, the 70th anniversary. The Kentucky Spirits in my area range from 60 to sometimes 70 bucks. And at that point, I'm just out. You know, like the 55 to 60, I bought one of them, but you know, when they start getting up to $70, that's a little wild. And this one here is about 45 to 50 standard MSRP. I paid 50 for this one, but I've seen them for 45 as well. So, getting into the tasting here, I've got 4 Glens back here. Now, as the way I do all my blinds, I just have the bottle set up on the screen so you can see what bottles I'm drinking from. The Glen behind the bottle has nothing to do with, you know, these are all mixed up is what I'm getting at. There's not like this isn't the 101, this isn't the 70th. So these have been all mixed up. I have no idea what I'm drinking, and I think what I'll do, like I usually do in blinds, is I'm gonna go ahead and nose through these and then fast forward through that and then check back in with you in a second. So please hold. So in a shocking turn of events, these all smell eerily like Wild Turkey bourbon at 101 proof. You know, but joking a little bit, but I am noticing some differences amongst them for sure. This one, I'm gonna go, let's go sample number 1 on my right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sample number 2 is coming across a little bit weaker. They're all obviously very similar because at the end of the day, it's Wild Turkey bourbon at 101 proof with, again, just a slightly different age or a single barrel. You know, I mean, you're gonna get some variance in flavor, I think, but it's also, you know, they're all in the same sort of, you know, they all play in the same sandbox. How's that for a metaphor? But yeah, I think that this one in particular just came across as a little bit lighter on the nose, and then I think this one has a little bit more of a cinnamon forward, which is kind of interesting, but you know, they're all very close to each other. So I'm gonna go ahead and taste through these, and I will check back in with you in a second. Please hold. So after that first round of tasting, the one that I said, number 2 here, bourbon number 2, which I'm touching this bottle, but that's Completely irrelevant. I don't know which one this is. Number 2 I said was a little bit weaker on the nose. It definitely is not on the palate. So that might have just been a fluke. It's actually rather bold. I'm getting a little bit of a lighter flavor profile off of bourbon number 3 here, which is interesting. It just, you know, they're all going to have basically the same flavor notes to offer. I think it's just the difference amongst them is going to be kind of like they're just EQ'd a little bit different, to make an audio reference. They're like, you know, certain levels of certain flavors are turned up or turned down on these, but they all have the same general flavor profile. So it's really just a matter of, you know, which one comes across maybe a little more bold, maybe a little more balanced. And so, you know, right now I don't really have a clear front runner. I've got a little bit of an idea, but I think I'm going to go ahead and taste through them again. I did water in between them this time. I think I'm just going to raw dog them this next time, since they're all so similar, and see what happens. So again, yeah, going to fast forward real quick, and then hopefully I'll have my results when I come back. Stay tuned. All right, I'm back with results here. This was another close call. Go figure, 4 bourbons that are very, very similar to each other. I will say right off the bat, before I get into the results here, the fact that one of these bottles is around 25 bucks and then there's another one or two on here that are closer to 70 is ridiculous. There is absolutely not that much of a, you know, the flavor to price jump there is not there with these. And so that was really kind of my beef with the 70th anniversary, which, by the way, again, I said at the beginning of this, and I'll say it again, I said in the review is a really good bourbon. I just didn't think that after doing the blinds, it really rose to the level of being double and even sometimes triple the price of the regular 101. But apparently just saying it's a good bourbon, it's just not double the price good, was not good enough for the internet, you know, and so people got upset.
Not good enough, Ben. I think what you meant to say is, fuck yeah, I fucking love it.
You know, I guess it is what it is. Now watch, the 70th anniversary is going to win the whole thing, and then I'm just going to get shredded even more. But let's get into the results here, find out definitively, once and for all, where these all stand, at least with me, and then I'm going to shut up about it. I'm just not going to talk about this anymore, because I've just beat this whole subject into the ground, I think, enough, and you guys are probably getting sick of it. So anyway, let's get into it. In last place was bourbon number 3, just because it came across a little bit lighter than the other ones. Now, these all, by the way, like, there's not a bad bourbon on this bar. These are all really, really good. So for me, this is just more of a value to price, quality value thing, I guess, however you say that. So anyway, in last place is is the 70th anniversary. All right, well, so Kentucky Spirit beat the 70th anniversary this time. Interestingly enough, that was my clear last place. That was my first last place, and I never changed that. Like, right off the bat, first tasting through, I put that one in last, and it never changed. Saying it was my clear last place may be a little misleading, though. Again, still a really good bourbon. These are all really good, and they're all within, you know, very, very close to each other. So anyway, in last place, the 70th. In third place, we have Kentucky Spirit, which came in third in the blind of the Shelfer, the 70th, and the Kentucky Spirit. So the 70th and the Kentucky Spirit switch places, which means it's all down to the 8-year and the Shelfer 101. So my winner is bourbon number 1, and second place is number 2. And I got to tell you, these things were very close. I picked number 1 as the winner, so we're going to reveal that one, because that will also reveal what came in second place. And it is the 8-year. Okay, so 8-year. This is interesting because when I did the comparison between these two, not blind, I did say the 8-year was a little bit more refined, and that's why I put this one in first place. I felt like there was just a little bit more of an experience to it, but honestly, not a ton. And then, you know, so then the Wild Turkey 101 Shelfer in second place. This is 3 times now that the regular 101 has beat the 70th anniversary, and the only difference is these two actually switch places. The 70th anniversary and the Kentucky Spirit were the lightest on the palate. I felt like the volume was turned down on them just a little bit. But again, you know, I often say in my comparisons of whiskeys, if the first place winner is 100, all of these are definitely in the 90s. You know, it's not like the 70th anniversary is a massive drop off. It really isn't. But it's fallen behind the Shelfer 101 3 times for me now. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know. I get a lot of crap for my opinion on this bottle, but for me personally, it just keeps coming up short. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know that I'm surprised by this, to be perfectly honest. This is not shocking to me at all. I'm definitely not surprised at the 8-year one because I hadn't done a comparison of the 8-year and the 70th anniversary. Going off of memory, when I did the review of the 8-year, it seemed like it was a better experience than the 70th anniversary. So, you know, if you've got a choice between any of these, I'd go with the 8-year, you know, middle of the road price point, I guess, you know, but if you're just looking for the Wild Turkey 101 flavor profile for just a good utility bourbon, I don't think you need to spend the $45. You're just fine spending the $25 to $30 on the Shelfer 101. Kentucky Spirit at this point, to be perfectly honest, I don't think I'll buy another bottle of it. They're getting too expensive. This one is the Camp Nelson one, which everybody said is, you know, the good warehouse. Like, you got to try this one. That's actually the only reason I bought it. And it just keeps coming up short in blinds. And so I don't think that I would bother spending, you know, at the 60 to even, you know, like I said at the beginning, $70 price point. Absolute hell no on that. These should be probably $45 maximum as far as I'm concerned. And the 70th anniversary, I will not be buying another bottle if I see it. So this one was actually supposed to be a little more readily available, the 70th, but I think everybody kind of freaked out about it a little bit, made it a little more allocated, and at that point, I don't know. My take on it is, if you have not found one of these, it's not that big of a deal. This is a better bourbon. This is a better bourbon as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, well, that's the results. Let me know in the comments, have you done this blind? Do you still disagree with me adamantly on the 70th anniversary? But yeah, this has been fun. Not terribly surprised by the results, which is, you know, I know sometimes you do a blind and it just goes completely off the rails in a direction you never expected it to go. This one, I'm not shocked. So anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on all these bottles. Again, if you've done the blind, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been a Wild Turkey 101 blind bourbon banger battle on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben. We'll see you on the next one.
Wait, aren't you forgetting something?
I forgot to do the blend. You know, if there's more than one bourbon on the bar, we got to do it, right? So I realized after doing my little outro spiel there that I hadn't done the blend. I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to taste an awful lot like Wild Turkey 101. Let's get into it. You know, surprisingly enough, that actually, I did the blend of the regular 101 and the 8-year, and it was kind of like, whatever, tastes like Wild Turkey 101. For whatever reason, this really kind of feels like it's the 101 flavor profile kicked up a notch. So maybe the blend of all 4 of them is really the way to go. But yeah, that turned out really, really nice. So anyway, okay, now we're going to get out of here. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.